The last thing that I want to share with you as far as teaching, we're going to move into actually trying to do some of this, is the idea that was really the whole point of this session now, is acting faith. Okay, as we're getting people to better understand healing, as we better understand healing, as they begin to recognize some area of God activity, we now compel them to push into the God activity. We now compel them to respond to God. We now compel them to move the thing that hurts. I know this is dangerous. John Wimber said years ago that faith is spelled R-I-S-K. This is hard. I mean, and here's the hard area for us. Are we willing occasionally to be shamed in front of people that it didn't work out so well? Again, let me be clear. I can't heal anybody. All I can do is ask and expect and move forward in some expectation. God's going to have to deliver on it. If it doesn't work, that was God's initiative, not mine. All I'm responsible to do is to believe and to move forward in this. Acting faith. This is the thing I want to drive home. This is the thing that I believe that Pastor Tom, I heard him talking about it over the lunch table. You know, we charismatic, spirit-filled people, we believe the word. We believe the truth. We have a pretty good idea of what healing really is, but we just don't have that willingness to go ahead and push into this. As prayer warriors, we don't have the willingness to compel people to get up and go. We don't have the real insight to say, you know what, I know it hurts a little bit, but go ahead and push anyway. Over the years, 99% of the healings I've seen have happened in the moment when we begin to act faith. It's almost never happens before then. I guess we want to pray and believe it's somehow going to fall down from heaven and just sort of land on them and suddenly, wow, they're healed. Somehow I guess that we believe that healing happens when we're real passive. We're uninvolved, unengaged. That's what I see people doing. You kind of pray passively. Oh, I guess nothing happened. Well, you know, we prayed and we asked the King of the universe to do something, and then we didn't even see if he might have been doing something. We ask him to heal a leg, and we don't even bother to try to move it. How absurd is this? I mean, are you going to ask him and you don't really expect him to give you anything? How dishonorable is that? If we ask him, we should have some expectation that something has happened. Say, well, how do you know? Faith without works is dead. You work. I know. Today when we do this, we're putting things on the line. I mean, Kathy called me up when we first presented this, said, you know, what are we doing now on this? You know, there's a little bit of there's a threat here. There's a little bit of a danger. And please, I ask you, as we're doing this and working on this, don't overextend things in a way that's dishonorable or not appropriate to the situation. But there's a measure of risk. Am I willing to move this hurting leg knowing that maybe I'll hurt it worse? Am I willing to bend my back? Am I willing to go for this? I'm willing to do the best I can in responding to the prayers and to the truths of the Word. You know, I'm not asking you to respond in ways you can't, but how about responding with everything you can? If you hear what I'm trying to say. Acting faith. It is the model that I see over and over and over again in the Bible. You know, I see it over and over again in the history of the church. You see it over and over again in those videos that we watch today. You say, what do you mean? Well, how about Jack Cole sticking his knee up the back of the, you know, ramming it in the back of that lady's back there and moving it down? I'm not going to necessarily always recommend their methods entirely, but Jack Cole lined up 24 wheelchairs one time, ran back to the back of the tent, ran forward, knocked them all over, and 16 of the people got out of the wheelchairs. Problem was there were some that didn't, but most of us couldn't live with that. Of course, there is a problem of lawsuits these days, but I'm not suggesting recklessness of that sort. That was his meeting. He had the right to make that call. This is not your meeting, so you're not going to make calls like that. But on some level, we can make marginal risk. We can move an arm that hurts. We can go move, bend our back. We can, work with somebody on that level in reasonable, appropriate levels as we're here today and believe for healing. Again, what did we say? Healing is something of a process. If it's something of a process often, that means that we can get involved with the process on some level, that God will work with us. If you notice in the video, what's A.A. Allen doing? He's grabbing those legs, he's moving them. They're picking the lady up out of the bed and they're going to carry her.